Yo, what's up, fellas? Look, what's your thoughts about vasectomies, the man regions? You for or you against? All right, today we're talking about to snip or not to snip. That's the question. All right, listen, I'm joined here today by some great cast of fellow podcast members here who gonna get this thing going. But before we do, we gotta get that intro going. Holla at your boy.
To the Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast with your host, Dr. MyRon Edmonds.
What up?
Myron, get your shift together.
Hey, look, man, we just move on. I heard Patti LaBelle was on stage in Toledo, Ohio. I don't know if you saw the video, but she was performing. She stepped aside. She threw up. She came back and she killed the performance. Hey, listen, you talking about a professional right here, man. When you slip up, you get back in the game and you keep going. Don't focus on the mess up. Focus on the task at hand, boy.
Here we go. We got
in here. Get your hand in here, boy.
Who's starting already?
Yeah, Jason.
Who's our sponsor today, Kymone?
I
thought, listen, Kymone, I thought you was gonna be like, what's the name of your company again?
Ideas to Life.
You had a chance. You had a chance to promote your own business.
What's going on here today, man? Y'all
I know, right? We off to a great start, man.
Crazy start. What's going on with y'all, man?
Hey, listen, this is a live podcast, but also remember, Jason, that, man, we edit this stuff and we put it up on YouTube too, man.
That's true. Watch the edit.
You're supposed to be a professional, man. Get your mind together.
I got it.
Every time Jason get on here, man, this guy's either looking at himself, man, in the camera mirror, man, trying to get himself. But I gotta say, man, the lighting looks good.
Hey,
that background. Oh, that's the screen. The background, man. You looking good. You looking good, brother. Oh boy, look, we got a lot to do today, man, in a short amount of time. But before we do, man, we always got to hear from Jay. And you got any man laws for us, man? You got any? Bubbling on the block.
Yeah. So just real quick, man, shout out to those that are going through Hurricane Ian down in Miami, Florida, or the Miami, Florida region.
Actually, it's my area closer, right? The Central Florida region more than
Central Florida. Well,
yeah.
Down there in Florida, excuse me if I misspoke. So down there in Florida, shout out to all those who are going through Hurricane Ian. It just made me think, man, I seen the video online and it was a guy who was going through his house, which was flooded. He just bought a brand new Ferrari or like a McLaren or some type of supercar, and it was just floating in his basement. Then it floated outside, brand new too. It just made me think, man, what do we put our value in? You know what I'm saying? We got to value our families, our loved ones. You know, I know we want the big cars, the fancy things, the houses, the glitz and glamour.
Come on with it, Jay. You better come on, boy.
Man, I'm not preaching because you tried to get on me last time when I talked about the enemy. You tried to get on me last time. So I'm not falling for your general statement, though, for everybody, you know. We want the diamonds, the lights, the glamour, the big houses, the fancy cars, all that stuff, man, but it can all be gone in the twinkling of an eye. So hold your family near, hold your loved ones near, your squad near, your community near, you know, because all the materialistic stuff could be here one day, gone the next day, man. So hold it down for your people.
That McLaren could be floating right down your street, man.
Yeah, of course. Yep. And of course, it's the game.
Calm down, bro.
2-1 right now.
And I see Lance J. I see Lance J in the background. He's
right now, baby. 2-1. The Lord is working through.
Listen, man, don't worry, man. I'm ready to go too. But hold on, before we even get there, Kymone, hold on, man. So you're telling me, I haven't been following the news, but I know your wife watches religiously. What is the situation? Is it Central Florida or is it what? Tell us more about that, because if that's the case, how are you able to do a podcast, man, in the middle of a hurricane?
Yeah, so I mean, the news was telling us, right? The projections were it was going to hit closer to the Tampa area. It was going to be one of the worst storms that we had in our area in just a long time. And so I live in a suburb of Tampa, a little more inland, called Wesley Chapel. So we never expected a direct hit, but we were going to get some really strong wind. We might have had some damage to property and stuff. Well, I don't know if you all recognize this thing shifted a little bit. So instead of coming up a little bit more and then coming across Tampa, it hit down in the Fort Myers area. It hit some of those coastal areas more. And a lot of those places are pretty damaged. You know, the water, really as I've been looking at this stuff, the wind, the rain, that's bad, but it's the water that comes in from off of the coast. That's really what's damaging stuff. So you saw water coming up to the first floor of some houses and flooding out stuff. Some areas lost power. A lot of places lost power. Even in my area, some people lost power. We never lost power. We had like some glitches. You know, you kind of look, the light kind of flicker off, your cable goes off, you got to put it back on. That's all that happened to us. So we're fine where I am, but there's a lot of other places that the damage was worse. Some people left here, went to Orlando. Well, the storm is actually headed towards, like, it went past Orlando area, and it's actually going to go into the waters again and then go up to South Carolina and some of those places. So Ian isn't finished with his destruction. That's the point.
Wow. Yeah. This guy was actually like swimming in his house. Like it's just painful to see. Which brings me to another little quick point. I don't know how to swim. I don't know how many black people know how to swim, but if you don't know how to swim, I'm teaching my kids, but I don't know how to swim. I get clowned every time I go on vacation because I almost drowned. So yeah, learn how to swim out there.
Black people learn how to swim.
Yes. Listen, we're gonna be talking about swimming later on in the podcast, right? But Myron, just remind people who might come on late what the topic is before we get to Lance J.
Yeah, absolutely, man. To snip or not to snip, we're talking about vasectomies today. By the way, we have a special interview with Dr. Q, which we'll talk more about when he comes on. But man, he said some stuff that literally, seriously, blew my mind. I had no idea. I've had a vasectomy, but I had no idea he was going to say the things he said. But we'll hear more about that in a minute. Anyway, look at this guy stunting.
Yeah.
You look a little different today, Lance J.
Lance, man, you from Ohio?
Am I from Ohio, man? What type of question is that?
I thought you were from the area. I thought you
Ohio that would have an Ohio State helmet on and a banner in their living room.
Our fan base is vast. You know what I'm saying?
He's from Columbus. He's from Columbus.
I'm from Columbus, man.
I thought you was from the DMV, man, with MyRon in them. So
nah, I'm just like MyRon, man. We all grew up as those that are pastors' kids. We all did a stint in the DMV, and then we go to other places in the country and pretend to be from there.
That's big fact.
Pandering to the local media and audience.
What you got for us today, Lance J?
Man, I want to get in and get out because Dr. Q was on my show, the Lance J Healthcast, a month ago, and he rocked it. Him and Isaac Palmer Jr. came on. He's phenomenal, so I don't want to take any time from him because he's fantastic. Talking about erectile dysfunction, vasectomies, just getting a prostate cancer test, just amazing stuff. I just want to talk briefly, man. And this seems like a hot take and a hot topic. And it's not about your Cowboys. It's not about Cooper Rush Brady. I want to talk about Ime Udoka, and not in a judgmental fashion, not in a spilling the tea fashion, not a hot take fashion, but I just think the situation with Ime Udoka epitomizes what Dr. Edmonds and Pastor Hinds are doing with the Get Your Shift Together podcast. We talk about a safe space for men all the time, and we've seen men fall. You had Elder Kelly that came on the show about a month ago and talked about his experience, and I just think that this situation really epitomizes that. Ime Udoka, at the prime of his career, a black man coaching the Celtics, which is darn near impossible, has a loaded team that's going to be a perennial championship contender with two young superstars that are only 24, 25 years old. You're at a marquee franchise. You got all the money in the world. You're an NBA champion from the Spurs. And he's not a rock star. He's not a popular name, but he's been able to ascend to such a fantastic position. And then you're waking up next to Nia Long, man. Come on, man. You're engaged to Nia Long. Like, you are living the dream. If you're Ime Udoka and you only average 6.5 points a game through your playing career, and you have all of those blessings, you should be thanking God, Allah, Buddha, the flying spaghetti monster, whoever you believe in. You should be thanking that entity for your success. But even someone of his stature, of the money, I'm sure he's driving, like Walk said, he's probably driving a McLaren. It shows that anyone can fall to temptation, and anyone can lose their career, can lose their status, can lose their opportunity because of temptation. And MyRon, you talk about that all the time, man. I think instead of judging this brother, instead of putting him in the tabloids, it just shows, and I said I'm getting in and getting out, it just shows that anyone, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter if you have the parking space, the corner office, the nice house, you can fall to temptation and it can destroy your life. And that's why, if you're out there listening, you need to register for what Dr. Edmonds is putting down. You need to be a part of the winning circle. You need to get your shift together, because anyone can fall, and this actually shows that it doesn't matter who you are. So we have to have safe space for the brothers so we can unite and we can focus on getting our shift together.
That's good. That's good, Lance J.
Do you think he's going to keep his job?
No, he's done. He's toast.
Why? So then why give him a year suspension? Why not just fire him?
Because from a legal perspective, they have to sift out everything. They're going to have to do something to the women involved if it was consensual. There's so much rumor and innuendo from what seems to be coming out that there were more than one person and that everything wasn't necessarily consensual. I think from an HR, putting on my VP hat, if you have two people that are consensually involved, you that's not necessarily a fireable offense. But if you have someone that's forcing himself on someone that's not consensual, you got to let the legal stuff play out. It's just like Deshaun Watson. I don't want to make it, it's not just like Deshaun Watson, but it takes time for the legal to play out and for people to get interviewed and all of that stuff. But the word around the league is that he's toast with the Celtics. Will he get another opportunity to coach later on in his life? Perhaps, but he's probably done with the Celtics.
Yeah. Most of that has to deal with your position. So like if you're in a position of power, even if it's consensual, if he was her boss per se, that could be viewed as, you using your position to kind of engage in that that relationship. Yeah.
And it's terrible, man. We've seen the CEO of McDonald's lose his job. Similar, even both Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos had similar situations with their organizations. It doesn't matter who you are, man. It's just, and that's why I think the paramount thing is just, it's so important for men to have a safe space where they can deal with their demons and issues before it mushrooms into something that completely destroys your life and career.
It's good.
Yeah, that's a great take, bro. We appreciate it, man. We're gonna dive into this stuff, man, talking about the man regions, because honestly, I think at some point, and maybe we should do this as the story continues to unfold, Lance J, we got to bring you back and probably just have a whole conversation on this situation with the Celtics. I think it's on brand for everything that we're doing, and it has so much relevance to me personally. Honestly, we're all of us. There's nobody on this set right now who doesn't have the potential and the capacity to screw up every single thing they have. We all got demons, and yeah, man, we're gonna figure this thing out and talk more about it. All right, bro. Man. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yep. Well, man, that's heavy, man. Just making me think about it. Well, to lighten this thing up just a little bit, man, I want to ask a question. But before I do, our sponsor today is the Men's Winning Circle. Thanks, Lance J, for giving us a quick shout out. Brothers, you have an opportunity to sign up for the Winning Circle right now. This is the premier online virtual platform to help men to win in the things that matter. It is a community of communities. And it's literally changed my life, and it's changed the lives of really thousands of men. So I want to encourage you to sign up for the Winning Circle. Guys, this is really not even an issue of money and cost. It's an issue of, listen, if you don't do this, you might be like Ime. You know what I'm saying? Some of you need to protect your bag. Whatever bag you got, whatever family you got, whatever woman you got, you better protect it, by getting in a community that's going to help you to grow. And yeah, man, let's win in what matters. All right, so look, let's.
So how do they sign up, MyRon?
Actually, they can go to our website. That's at the right.
So how do they sign up?
I'm sorry.
Oh, remember now, everyone's not watching, so you got to call it out.
Oh, okay. Call it out for us then, brother. Kymone, I think you're behind. Are you behind?
Yeah, I think we had a little lag. I don't know. Are we good back? Are we good now?
Yeah. Fellas, you can go to menswinningscircle.com, menswinningscircle.com, menswinningscircle.com for our podcast listeners. Those of you who are watching on the screen, is right there, menswinningscircle.com. Sign up to be a part of this community. All right, fellas, we're going to get right into this thing. We have Kymone actually raised the idea for this topic today, and I think it's a good one, and I'm telling you why I think it's a good one. After talking with Dr. Q, we have Dr. Quinton Cancel. He was not able to be here today, but I interviewed him, and wow, check this out. All right, my people, listen, we got some goodness here for the brothers. We are talking about men's health, and we trying to all get our shift together, but I think this may be the first. Is this the first time in the Get Your Shift Together Men's podcast that we have the urologist of urologists? Like this, he is the top urologist for Black men's health. I'm speaking that. And he's my brother too. Dr. Quinton Cancel. Is this your first time in the building?
I believe so. Thank you.
I know you've come to other platforms like the Winning Circle and stuff like that. He's always been like our resident men's health guy in the Winning Circle. But anyway, we're going to get right to it. Doc, tell us a little bit about what you do, your experience. Man, how'd you become the Man Region's doctor? Talk to me, man.
And that's a long story. I don't know if we have time for that, but
Cliff notes, yeah.
Yeah, I've been practicing now for about 14 years. I trained at Duke for med school and residency. I went to undergrad at WashU. My godfather, Flip, his dad, my godfather, he's a urologist, and he's the one that got me interested in urology. But I was very resistant at first because I had a very limited knowledge of what urologists do, very crude knowledge of what. So we would go over his house and it'd say, hey, your dad's a dick doctor. Yeah, we got to cover ourselves up when we get us. Don't try to check us when we come in. So, no, but that's kind of my introduction to But, as I got through med school and kind of looked at all the specialties, I just found a home in urology. I love the vastness of what you can do, the technology. I play with lasers and robots. I get to help men, particularly what we're going to talk about today, sexual health, medicine, low T, ED. But today we're going to talk about vasectomies, and that's really a hot topic, man. My vasectomy business has shot through the roof this year, and you probably can guess why.
No, I can't. Honestly, you kind of tipped me off on some of this earlier, and honestly, my head is still shaking about this. And by the way, for those of you guys who are joining in, please like, share, and subscribe to the Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast. We are joined today with Dr. Quinton Cancel. He is the urologist of urologists for Black men, and he hails out of Asheville, North Carolina. But Doc, our subject today is, it's not men in the church. That's the wrong subject. But the subject here it is, to snip or not to snip. There we go. Talking about vasectomies. And you said some stuff, man. I was like, what? Come on, open this thing up, man.
I'm glad you asked me to talk about it because I've been seeing this shift in men coming into my office wanting a vasectomy, and they're getting younger and younger. And, I started asking, why is it, why are you here? And the answer I keep getting is Roe v. Wade. Is that decision that was made by the Supreme Court earlier this year. And even though North Carolina is still
this is the abortion law that was overturned, protecting women's reproductive rights and so forth.
Correct. And so guys are coming in their 20s. They're not married. They don't have any kids. and they're like, I want a vasectomy. And I'm like, wait, hold on. You do know this is permanent, a permanent form of birth control. And they're like, yeah, I just don't want to have kids. And I don't know how you know that in your 20s, but a lot of them are basically saying they want to stand in solidarity with women, you know, as far as, you know, protecting them from having to make a decision that may be illegal in some places. So, but yeah, it's crazy.
Whoa. Okay, Doc, break that down for me, man. Honestly, that's the first time I've ever heard anything. What do you think about that? I want your professional opinion and your man opinion. As a brother, keep it 100. What do you think about that?
Man, I have pause when I see someone coming in that's that young. My partner actually had a guy come in that was 18 and wanted a vasectomy. And before you even saw him, he was like, there's no way I'm doing this vasectomy on this guy. That is way too young. And then after you met him, he was like, I'm definitely doing a vasectomy. This guy doesn't need to procreate. Like, I guess, I don't know what kind of interaction they had, but in all fairness, you think about it, MyRon, your 21-year-old self, you know, trying to make a decision for your 30-year-old self. That's kind of how I look at it. And I'm a different person than I was when I was 21. Yeah. And I think a lot of guys go into, well, I don't know this for sure, but I think there's a perception out there that vasectomies can be easily reversed. And there is something called a vasectomy reversal, but there's no guarantee. And so, you know, I feel some kind of way about doing young men, particularly if they're not married and don't have kids. And I grill them very, you know, intensely. I was
going to ask you, what do you say to them when you see a younger guy coming in and he wants a vasectomy? What are you saying to them?
Yeah, I do. I tell them, hey, you know, this is permanent. This is meant to be permanent. And you absolutely don't want to have kids. And and some of them have alternative lifestyles as well. You know, they're just like, I'm just not, you know, that's not in the cards for me. I've always known it, you know, and, you know, when they come in resolute, and if I sense any, you know, any uncertainty about it, then, you know, I will say, hey, why don't you think about it, you know, and come back after you thought about it and we'll talk. But, you know, in general, like my job is to treat the patient and what they want, you know, regardless of my personal feelings. And so if they are competent to make their own decisions, they're an adult, you know, I have to abide by their wishes. So I may not agree with it and I may think it's not wise, but I can't really, you know, use that to tell them no.
A lot of brothers, and I think you were not my urologist, but you were the urologist of a lot of my friends. I mean, a lot of my brothers have come to you, and I just want to ask you this because you know a lot of dudes are hesitant about doing this, but they don't. But they do find themselves in a position where they don't want to have more kids, and I'm seeing a lot of oopses. Matter of fact, I told you of a situation that I'm always reminded of a friend of mine who was born when his mother's tubes were tied, actually. I didn't know that was possible. I mean, yes, I mean, but there's always these, you know, and everybody's got their way. Some brothers got the pull-out game. You know, they got that mastered. But I'm talking about not necessarily the younger guy, but what goes into the decision-making process, or what can you say about a guy who is just afraid of anything happening in his man regions, but he doesn't want to have kids? Yeah. Should he or should he not get a vasectomy? If so, why or why not?
Yeah, no, this is so common, and honestly, the fear it's mostly in your head. Honestly, you know, we just have this fear of, you know, sharp objects or, you know, somebody manipulating down there. You know, it's just like
we might sing high, we might talk higher when it's over or something.
Yeah, yes, you think you're gonna come out limping. I don't know, but. It really, I tell guys, you know, they come in nervous and I get that. I was nervous. You know, we both have had vasectomies, and so I understand that. And that's why I typically write for some Valium, to take, beforehand. So that takes the edge off. And I tell them it's a 10-minute procedure. In my hands, it doesn't take long.
Oh, it's 10 minutes now? It was 10 minutes when I got it done. It wasn't long, but 10 minutes, man. You really mastered this thing.
No, I really do the most in my practice. It's not uncommon for me to do, 6 in a day, in a session, in a morning session or afternoon session. And we use a no scalpel technique. And so that's usually comforting to guys to know that, hey, we're not bringing out the scalpel. We're not cutting you actually. So first of all, the value relaxes you. And I talk them through the whole thing. It's really nothing to fear. You just fear the unknown, what you don't know. But there's plenty of numbing medication. We basically take a little device.
I was going to say, walk us through so a guy can know exactly what's going to happen to him if he decides to do a vasectomy.
So I will just counsel you like I would a patient. So I tell them basically, you want to come in shaved. You don't want hair in the field. So,
right.
Clean up down there.
Yeah, clean up.
If you don't, we have people that can. But then we after we get you prepped and draped, then we go through the midline, and there's an injection of local anesthetic that we put in the skin. And I actually numb up the vas at the same time as I'm doing the local. So everything is numbed up. And so I take a little sharp hemostat, and I go in and poke the skin and just spread it open. And then there's this little vas loop that I use to grab the vas and to pull it slightly out. And there's a sheath that covers the vas. So we use a cautery pin to open up the sheath, and then that vas gets exposed and we pull it out.
What is the vas in layman's terms?
Yes, so the vas deferens, we call it vas for short, is a tubular structure that goes from the epididymis, which is in the back of the testicle that carries sperm from the testicle. And it actually is a very long tube because it goes all the way from your scrotum, it goes into your inguinal canal, it turns into your pelvis and dives into your prostate to join up with your seminal vesicles at the ejaculatory ducts within your prostate. So your seminal vesicles is where the semen is stored. Okay, and so your semen and your sperm join together in the prostate and they flow out together. And so that's why you still produce fluid after a vasectomy, because 90% of the fluid is coming from those seminal vesicles that sit behind the bladder.
On a scale from 1 to 10, what is the pain experience from anesthesia to the actual surgery?
It shouldn't be anything, but what the comment I get from most men, particularly when you're numbing things up, is, that feeling like when you get grazed down there.
Yeah.
You kind of feel that in your stomach a little bit.
Yeah.
But most guys, I'm like, are you okay? And they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. So
I didn't feel that until after the surgery, when they told me to ice it down. I thought I could just, I thought I was strong enough to just go to the mall and hang out. And brother, hey, look, I was like the elephant man. Hey, man, I had to go. I went home and got some frozen peas and just sat on them all day. But other than that, man, it was painless.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. That I say at the most you may feel that. If the surgeon is skilled and hit the vas, you shouldn't feel much at all. And we do the same thing to the other side through one opening. And the opening is literally that big. That's my camera. That big. And I put a stitch in at the end, and the stitch dissolves after a week or two. And that's it. I have a rule of 2s afterwards, the 2 days of just being a couch potato. I did the same thing you did. I think I went to Walmart or something next day. I was feeling good. And then I was like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't take my own advice. So just chill for a couple of days. Literally just be off your feet, chill, relax. 2 weeks of abstinence, so no sex. I had a guy in my office ask me, can I masturbate? And I was like, no, so let me be explicit. No relations.
No sexual relations of any kind. Huh?
Some guys, you got to spell it out.
All right, let me ask you a question. That was a great description. And honestly, for guys who are considering it, I mean, I can just speak to it and say, man, it was fairly painless except when I didn't follow what the doc said. I mean, other than that, it was. I've had more painful experiences than that. One being having COVID. That was worse than vasectomy. But I want to ask you, before I ask you who shouldn't, how does it affect us sexually?
Yeah.
There's a lot of myth out there. What can I expect to happen? Is the flow going to be strong? Is it going to be weak? Am I going to still be able to get an erection? How is it going to affect me sexually after I have a vasectomy?
Sure. And that's a great question because there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding this. Number one, it does not affect your hormones in any way. So you're not going to get low T because you had a vasectomy. It doesn't cause erectile dysfunction. The nerves for erection are deep in your pelvis. They're nowhere near your scrotum. So you're not going to have erectile dysfunction. It's not going to feel different. It's not going to feel like you're backed up. Brothers talk about blue balls or whatever, like I'm feeling backed up. None of that. You won't have any of that. And actually, speaking from personal experience and, having done it, I can say, I don't know about you, man, but, after a couple of weeks and, let loose, it was like, oh, it was like.
Hey, the rivers are flowing. There's just no fish. There's just no fish in them.
No. Well, okay. Now that's the important part I want.
Is that true or not true?
Not true. Not true. Okay. A common misconception is that after your vasectomy, you're sterile and you are not sterile afterwards. Remember I mentioned that, why am I doing a vasectomy if I'm not? You're not sterile right away. So remember I talked about how long the vas is going all the way going down into your pelvis?
Oh yeah.
Still have swimmers along that pipeline that have yet to be released.
Oh man.
So,
okay.
So I tell guys, after that 2 weeks of abstinence, clear the pipes.
Oh, it's 2 weeks of abstinence?
2 weeks.
I thought you said 2 days.
So hold on. Let's get this straight. 2 days of resting, being right. 2 weeks of abstinence, no sex or ejaculation, and then in 2 months, come back in and bring in a specimen. Okay. Now, during that 6 week period, after your 2 week break, it takes about 20 to 30 ejaculations to clear the pipe to get rid of all the sperm that was distal to where you cut the vas. Okay. So, for some guys, I need to write a prescription for that, because the wife won't do it unless I'm kidding. But
hey, bro, I was going to say that, that's almost it likened unto, when your wife's trying to have a baby and hey, you're just a willing servant, man. You just want to do whatever. You just want to offer your body as a living sacrifice.
Right.
And then on the other hand, you're like, look, babe, listen, if this is going to work, man, I got to get 20 or 30 of these off. Oh, man, I thank God for the urologist.
Amen. But yeah, it really is real because I have had guys who did not check. I got a friend that did not check who had their fourth child. And, so you have to check because you still may have some swimmers. Now, the way we do it, and I didn't get into how exactly it's done, but after we cut a small segment out, about 1 centimeter out, I put 2 metal clips, very small clips on each side, and I take a cautery pin and I burn the lumen, the hole in the middle, okay? And so you have, it's cut, it's clipped, and cauterized, okay, both sides. So, and then when you release it back into the scrotum, they kind of separate a little bit, And so with those 3 safeguards, you should not get pregnant if you follow directions, right?
Yeah.
Come in 2 months and bring in a sample. And when it shows no sperm, that's when you have the all clear. Only then. So I tell patients, use precaution, use protection, whatever surefire method you have for birth control until you've gotten the all clear.
Listen, that's that sounds like a life lesson. Like how we there's certain things that we want in life but because of our lack of patience
Mm-hmm.
and we don't follow instructions, man, we get ourselves into trouble.
Yes.
And actually, you're bringing those things back to my brain. I want to. We have just a few more minutes left, and I want to ask you some direct questions.
Sure.
What warnings do you have, or admonitions do you have for a brother that's contemplating this right now? Not necessarily a warning, but it's some like real serious talk about a vasectomy. I mean, so many brothers, you and I both know, man, they got a lot of superstitions and a bunch of other stuff, but at the same time, they can't stop having kids, and they want to.
Yeah.
Any real talk you want to share with the brothers about the vasectomy?
Man, there's just freedom in sterility for me. And, I know you find that as well. Just knowing that you are in control of your body and the outcomes that you want. And so, there's a lot of fear, but most of it is in the head. It really, is not really based in reality. We fear what we don't know. And so hopefully this information will eliminate some of that fear. But my main thing is know for sure. If you're wavering, don't do it. If you're not absolutely 100% sure that you're not trying to have any more, then I would wait. It's just not worth it because, the longer you go after a vasectomy, people ask, can it be reversed? And it can. The best time, the highest success of reversal is within the first 3 years. And it's 75% success rate at that. It goes down the longer you wait. So, you wait 5 years, it goes down to 55%. And 10 years, it goes below 50. So, know for sure that you want to have this done. And it's nice if you're married that your wife agrees,
All right.
because, there's some, I try not to get in between that, but
man, it was real easy for me, man. After we had our second child, my wife was like, man, you ain't gonna get none of these Skittles, man, unless you go get clipped. She was like, I already put my body through hell. She was like, it's your turn now, man. So I willingly, man.
Yeah.
I went willingly, brother. That was easy motivation for me.
Yes. I think as men, it is one of the most selfless things that we can do because honestly, it takes 15 minutes, and it's an in and out procedure. Women have to go through surgery. They got to do all this stuff and I get a lot of guys that's like, I don't like seeing my wife, hormonal. I don't like, or we had a high risk pregnancy. I'm not running the risk again of putting her in danger. Financially, I can't afford it. I can't afford more kids, So those are excellent reasons to proceed. But you definitely want to go to, because you do hear some horror stories, about just things going wrong. And so you definitely want to find a urologist that is experienced, that does a lot of these, multiple times a week, so that, and they don't have a high complication rate. Because some of I do need to say two things because, just for completeness sake, 1 in 100 men will have a chronic pain after a vasectomy. Okay, so 1% of men, chronic testicular pain, bilateral or unilateral. And we don't even know why that is, but some men do. And sometimes it just burns out on its own and, there's nothing, a little Advil can treat that. Sometimes you need to do cord blocks or actually, put some numbing medication in the cord to block the pain, a series of those to get rid of it. But that does happen. And you can develop some bleeding and bruising afterwards. And so that's why we tell people take it easy for a couple of days. Don't get up and move. And don't try to have sex too early because, things are healing. So you don't want to, create pressure and, blow out something and create bleeding either. There's a very low chance that, with the way that I described, that the vas ends can come together and recangulate. But one thing that has been basically studied is that if you ejaculate and you get seepage of sperm outside before everything is scarred down, you can form this granuloma, which is like this ball of inflammatory, material in sperm, and that granuloma can create a bridge between both ends of the vas, and you can start to have channels around where you had the vasectomy. And so that's why it's very important to listen to the doctor, take those 2 weeks off. It's going to be hard, but you'll live, and do it the right way, because you don't want to go through that for naught.
I think one of the most powerful things that you've said tonight, that I didn't really even think about it like that, is that, our wives, they put their bodies through so much, and it is a selfless act. And so for the guy who's thinking about this, I think Doc has really helped us to see the nobility, the virtue in doing this for the sake of your family and to give your wife's body a break. I'm just guessing, but you would know, is it more expensive to get tubes tied than it is to get a vasectomy? Okay.
Anytime you're going, the only time I would even suggest a woman do that is if she's already, having a C-section and she's in there, and you can just put the tubes at that time. But, vaginal birth, if they're not even close to it, it's much easier for us to take care of that. And the first thing I tell patients when they come in is say, so you want to take one for the team, huh? That's literally what we're doing.
I tell you what, man, I'm happy.
Yeah.
There is a freedom, brother. There is a freedom, and I just have no worries whatsoever. Amen. You know my wife, man, she's heard some horror stories, and she said it to you, and you had to tell her, look, he's good. She heard some horror story about after 7 years or something like that. Now, is that true? Like after 7 years, like is that true? Is there a 7-year period where, you're more susceptible to, you have to go get checked again? You have to go get checked again?
No, you shouldn't.
You see, man, all this stuff, man, these old wives' tales, man. Maybe she's just using this to block me sometimes. But anyway, look, we got to go, man. This has been great. We're going to bring you back. We're going to talk sexual health, ED, prostate cancer. So fellas, stay tuned, man. We're going to see more of Dr. Q with us. So, yeah, man, appreciate you, man. Much love to you.
Yeah, man, love you too, bro.
All right.
Hey, let's go.
The first question I want to ask is, Jason, have you gotten a vasectomy? Let me unmute. Have you been snipped, Jason? And if not, tell us why.
No, I have not gotten a vasectomy.
Okay. And why? Why have you not?
I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, I plan to, because my wife had will have our children vaginally, so they didn't have to go in and do a C-section. So her tubes wasn't exposed already. But so yeah, that's the reason. The method I use right now, I get clowned about a lot. My birth control methods, I get clowned out.
Hey, you using those biblical. Hey, man, there's a text in the Bible that says there was a man named Onan, man.
Yep.
He spilled it on the ground, and the Lord slew him. The Lord killed him for wasting of his seed. All right, all jokes aside, seriously, man. Well, I want to know what your reactions are. Let's go, Kymone. What are your thoughts?
Quick question. So, I had my vasectomy 16 years ago. I know exactly when, because my wife was pregnant with our third child. So we had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old. No, actually, they were 2 and 1 when we found out she was pregnant. 2, 1, and boom, another baby was coming. And we were like, yo, we got to do something about this. The methods we were trying, Jason, were not working. Let's put it that way. We weren't very good at those methods. But what Dr. Q said, a couple of things that worked in our favor. So that 2 days that we talked about, 2 days off, man, look, I didn't lift anything. I didn't touch anything. When you got little toddlers running around, though, they run into you instinctively. You got to be like, yo, stay away. Yeah. You're like, yo, and they aim for that spot almost, right? But the good thing is when the 2 weeks passed, she was still pregnant. So we didn't have to do anything extra, like in terms of birth control. kind of just took advantage of that to get our 20, 30 out. So that was good. So listen, here's the good thing. I took one for the team. So we're not equal. This is not equal, but I'll say I'm forever changed. So whenever we have these discussions, I'm forever changed, man. I can't go back.
So I have a question, Kymone. You said
hold on 1 second though, real quick. I gotta set the record straight. And the doc tried to do this. Hold on, Jay. Kevin Bryan in the comments just keeps asking over and over again, even though I have responded to does this impact sexual desire and impotence? And the doc said, no, it doesn't. And I am personally here to tell you that, man, I have lost no strength, no desire, no nothing.
No, it goes the opposite way.
It's the opposite because I got freedom.
Yeah. Yes. Listen, I think it's freedom on both sides for you and for your wife. It's come on.
Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry, man. These guys out here, man.
Listen. You don't listen. Here's the term we use, man. I no longer have to flee the scene of the crime, man. That's all.
Go ahead, Jay. What was you gonna say?
Y'all a little bit too much for me, but
get this done and stop playing. First of all, I've been telling Jay to do this, and he keep playing around with it. You're gonna slip up, Jay. You know you're gonna slip.
Listen.
In your future, you're 40 years old, man. You can't be having no more kids.
Listen, that's a fact, right? So anybody out there that has over 2 children, I'm definitely gonna get a vasectomy probably because I really don't want any more kids. Having 2 little kids over 40 years old it's a grind, but it's a grind. But Kymone, you said that your wife was pregnant when you got your vasectomy?
Yeah, she was.
So how did you?
That's like sounds like an intense moment.
Yeah.
All right, enough is enough. He got no black butt to the urologist right now.
He got that third kid. That third kid will make you go get a vasectomy. Listen, if my wife got pregnant today, if she called me,
I thought she was about to say she was pregnant. No. Oh, okay. You talking from experience?
If my wife called me today and was like, "Babe, I'm pregnant," I will go outside with a rock and do it myself. There's no way in the world I want another child right now. I'm 40 plus years old, dealing with 2 little kids. I work a very strenuous job. When I come home, they don't care. They just want to play. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired as hell. So yes, I am getting a vasectomy.
Here's what I don't understand though. I know men in their 50s.
Oh man, I don't see how.
Who are not snipped. Now listen, if you have personal reasons, philosophical reasons that are based on facts, then have your convictions. But I got to look in this camera and talk to a brother, right? There's a brother right now, you 50.
Go full screen.
Okay, I don't want to block y'all out. Well, I said you 50 or you in your late 40s and you still on that pull-out game because you afraid that if you do this, that you gonna do something to your sexual, there's this thing in brothers' minds, and I was looking at the research. Everybody, they said the number one reason why men don't do it is because they're skittish. Not about pain, not about the pain. They're skittish about having somebody to tinker with their sexuality, even though the science is literally telling us. And you have all these examples of people. Dude, Kymone, we're here as living witnesses.
Yeah,
done nothing but help my sex life.
Let me tell you this. This is the truth. If you go looking for mess, you're gonna find it, right? So if you almost prejudice yourself against getting the surgery, you're gonna go find some one little story of somewhere deep in the internet where somebody said they had it and then they got blue balls or whatever, right? You're gonna find something over there. You're gonna find it. But the truth is the science. You got overwhelming science, and then the truth, like you talking about my story, right? Like Zach Maddox and his brother did it. And they talked about, listen, it's pain, it was relatively painless, whatever. It's like, all right, you know what? Look, we all were having our kids real close to each other. It's like, brother, I got to go do something. And so there are enough people who've had good experiences that the fear of that one little crazy story out there that's probably embellished, you ain't got to lean on that.
He said,
all right, so I have one rebuttal.
50-year-old man up there still been married 30 years. Still using the condom.
I gotta challenge y'all. Hold on. Don't try to overtalk me, Dr. MyRon Edmonds. Let me get my bars off, okay?
I'm saying that for a reason.
I got one little rebuttal, right, to both of y'all Snip soldiers, okay? So after that, you gotta get 30 out. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta run 30 clips. What, like, my thing is in that 30, because, you know, it's under pressure to have sex, but, you know, you gotta have a lot of sex, which I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? Charles Luther Vandross, you know what I'm saying? Grab some Ripple. You know what I'm saying?
Not the Ripple.
Yeah, grab some Ripple. Anyway, I'm just playing. But,
that's that Sanford and Son.
Right. So, but my thing is, if I slip up getting that 30 out, me and Dr. Q, man, we're going to have to go to the grass. Because we have to go outside, man, because I done got snipped and I had to slip up getting this 30 out, and I did all that for naught. So, like, you know, how was that period of cleaning your pipes?
Well, I already told you mine.
Scared? Hold on.
No, remember, my wife was pregnant. My wife was pregnant. So she couldn't get pregnant again.
Oh, so you were cheating.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a sweet move you pulled there, Kymone.
Yeah,
that's a cheat code. Listen, that's a hack. That's a hack. If you go,
that's a hack.
Yeah, no, seriously. If your wife is pregnant and you decide, you know, we're not gonna have no more kids,
that's a hack.
That's the best time to do it.
Hey, Jason, basically, he's saying get Juanita pregnant again.
Oh, hell yeah.
But Myron, I guess you should answer the question then. Like, were you like?
Honestly, I don't even remember. I just knew that once I heard that I had to do all this releasing, brother. I just told my wife, man, that the doctor's orders, we have received a prescription from the doctor that we got to get 30 in the next 15 days.
Twice a day, baby.
2 days.
That's twice a day.
2 days, man. It's a training camp.
Yeah.
But listen, this is the point I'm trying to tell these, but all these guys are scared that this thing going to impact their sex life. It will impact your sex life.
Yeah.
It's going to take it up. It's going to take it up. I just don't get it, man. Seriously, I'll be talking to grown men who in their 40s and their 50s still using condoms with their wives. That's not of God, brother. I'm sorry. This is my opinion. When God made Adam and Eve, Adam didn't have no fig leaf wrapped around his schlong. Come on, man. Listen, he wanted us to be free. Jay, you good, Jay? He wanted us to be free, man.
I feel what you're trying to do, Byron. I ain't
saying.
Well, here's a question.
But I had somebody tell me that having sex with a condom is as good as having sex without one. What that's blasphemy.
Let me say this. For some people who might be worried about this part, the experience of the release is just as good after the vasectomy. I'll just tell you that. No, some people think, okay, because I don't have the swimmers, like I'm not gonna have ejaculation, I'm gonna have air coming out, whatever. That's not true. Like you have the same experience.
Air coming out.
You heard the doc, though. The doc differentiated between, and that was a learning moment. I don't know if you caught that. He said it's a difference between semen and sperm.
Mm-hmm.
We think semen and sperm are the same things. Right. The semen just carries the sperm.
Right. So
he talked about the swimmers. The semen the rivers could always flow. It won't have no fish in it. It won't have no fish in it, man.
Yeah, how many metaphors we gonna have today, man, on this thing?
Listen, all I gotta say is, I have thought about it. I will probably get a vasectomy, but I'm still just kind of, it's nothing about the pain or anything like that. It's just, I
keep playing.
I don't want to lose my superpower to produce life into this universe. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm glad you said that.
But I'm gonna be with my wife forever. We don't want any more kids, so it's kind of like, yeah, I'll probably do it.
No, go ahead, keep playing with it. Anyway,
let me say this: for any brother who's considering it, like, get some real science. Talk to some brothers who've done it. Talk to some real doctors. Look, you had Dr. Q on here talking about this. Don't just be going down some rabbit hole with some nonsense, some dudes who don't know nothing about this stuff.
Come on, I'm a doctor too. I'm a doctor. And
Listen, don't go with to some guy who got 14 kids out here talking about this stuff don't work. Don't listen to this dude, man. Talk to some real scientists. Talk to a real doctor. How about that?
All right, listen, man. Great show today. We're gonna talk more about men's health. We need to get him on and talk about ED because
listen,
I know the fastest growing group that's experiencing ED are men in their 40s.
Hey, listen, man,
blueberries, man. Blueberries will.
Man.
Listen, you got to get Dr. Q back on here to encourage some brothers, man, that you got more going for you than you think. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. He actually said we're bigger than we realize.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. Anyway, guys, you can join the winning circle today. You can do this today. Listen, if you get in between October the 1st, right? If you sign up for between now and October the 1st, we'll give you 14 days for free in the winning circle. All right. This is a trial period. You can come in, test drive this bad boy. Here goes another metaphor. You can test drive it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you know what I'm saying, you can jump out. I promise you will like it. So do us a favor and go to our website. That's menswinningscircle.com. You can sign up to be a part of the winning circle and you can get 14 days for free. Look, how could you turn that down? Anyway, man, y'all have a great one today, man. And fellas,
keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Keep swimming.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast. For more information, please visit our website, menswinningscircle.com. That is, menswinningscircle.com. Let's win in the things that matter.